everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Divine Discussion with Madison and Carly. Hello. Welcome back. So I decided that I want to get to know Madison a little bit more. Just kidding, I already know her really well, but I wanted to ask her questions so you guys can get to know her a little bit more. Just some questions, just diving into about the past couple of years, like 2020 and 2021, right? That have been more or less a shit show for people. And yeah, like Madison, I want to know. Let's just start with this. Let's just easy, simple. How was your 2020? How was it? How did it start? Tell us a little bit about it.
How was my 2020?
The devil year.
You know what? The most fucked up year ever, hands down. I think we can all say that. But also such an inspiring year. Ideas were sparked, and I went through so many different emotions in 2020. So I remember 2020, I remember New Year's 2020, and we were all like 2020 vision, baby. And I remember doing a vision board because me and my girlfriend, I think on New Year's the 1st, we did vision boards. And I had put so much heart and soul into this vision board for the year. And I had envisioned travel, and I had envisioned business growth, and I had envisioned, oh my God, just so many juicy, beautiful things, which just all came crumbling down.
Nothing happened.
So I not only walked away from the business that I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life in 2020, I walked away from a lot of friends, partnerships, things that I thought I was going to do forever. And that was really hard for me. So this was even before COVID, okay? This is pre-COVID. And I bottled a lot of that up and just like kept going and didn't show a lot, although I think it showed. And I did a lot of drinking. I did a lot of partying, and I said, fuck it, let's have some fun. But at the end of the day, I was just trying to run away from my problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of 2020. But then actually, to tip it off, COVID happened, and we had our beautiful lockdown, the first lockdown in March 2020. So almost a year ago. Can't believe it.
Right? Oh, I do have a really, really big question for you though, and I'm just super curious, okay? You're the feeling of unalignment that you felt like during your other network marketing company. And you say that you bottled a lot of things up, right? Which eventually do come out, as we both know. If you bottle it up deep enough, it will come like
Explode.
everywhere. And you finally like took it in yourself to walk away from something that wasn't aligned with you. But how did you do that? Like some people will stay in the same thing and bottle it up for their whole lives, but something shifted in you enough to want to change that. Like, first of all, why do you think that you bottle things up? And how did you get out of that and decide to make a change?
Okay, so a few things here. So I mean, I was building that last business with my ex, and there was a lot of toxic stuff that was going on there, but there was also a lot of toxic stuff that was going on with that business as a whole. And I bottled it up, and then I had a mental breakdown because as you do when you bottle things up, you have a mental breakdown. And I didn't leave very I could have left things
Like
less
not as,
messy.
yeah, I was gonna say not as gracious. That word popped into my head, but
Yeah. Um
yeah.
I think I think I did a really, really like looking back, I think I did a really, really good job with what I had. I had a mental breakdown. I remember, oh my gosh, we had this like team event in Vegas and the whole team was there and I had a mental breakdown in Vegas in front of my team. And it was not good, let me tell you that. And I came home and I did some self reflecting and I just said, this isn't working. I can't do this. I'm putting on a persona that isn't me.
Okay.
And I just said, you know what, I gotta just leave. And the what I did was I just removed myself completely. I didn't really tell people. I just said, you know what, this is it, done. And I walked away. And, looking back now, I would have liked to do things a little bit better. But my mental state was so messed up because I had been through so much trauma, for one, that I didn't process and realize until later down 2020. I started to really process how much trauma I had been through. Um, and yeah, I just left. I ran, actually. I
You
ran.
ran away. So when the moment, if you don't mind sharing, just like when you did have that moment of just in like front of your team and like at the event, what was it, just like a moment for you there? Like this is the last straw? Was it something you saw? Was it something you
Oh yeah.
triggered you? Like this is not who I am? Like what was it that made you be like fuck, you know?
I won't go into full details because
Okay, yeah, you don't have to
again,
name names or do anything,
but
but
a very specific happened. It was a big event and it happened in front of everybody. Something was said to me um
uh,
on a way that the person thought that nobody else would see or realize, and I just snapped and I went, you know what, mm-mm, done. Nobody even talked to me about this. Like, I'm just out. Like, if I just wanted to get so far out of there,
yeah,
and I
that's
was
tough.
just like, this, I just had the realization of this isn't where I'm meant to be. These aren't my people anymore. As much as a lot of those people I have love for and are not like trying to bash anything, but I was just like, this isn't my home. I
Yeah,
don't belong here.
yeah.
I had like put on this persona for so long that I was just like, no, I can't anymore. Snap, snap.
I had that. So it's so many people do that on a day-to-day basis though, and it's really cool to hear from you being in that and making the change and making a decision to try and reinvent yourself technically, because you've been that person for a long time, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
So wow. Yeah, go on.
yeah, like 3 years had this vision of where I was going and what I was doing. And all of a sudden I was like, I don't have no idea what I'm doing. And I have no idea who I am anymore because I had been showing up for other people in this way for so long that I thought I needed to show up like,
Yeah.
but I didn't need to. And so thus began the beautiful awakening.
The blooming of Madison. I love it. Can you give us a couple of lessons that you learned from that whole experience? Give me like two or three, maybe that like really stuck with you that you would teach someone else if they feel like they're being unaligned or putting on a facade and it's not who they are.
The moment you feel like you are not being authentic and true to you, you need to take a step back and analyze what's going on, why you're there, how it happened, and what you're going to do about it. Because the minute that you go out of alignment with yourself, your soul's purpose, what you feel like you need to be doing and who you are, you need to take a big look at that and, get yourself back on the path. Like, I, at the end of the day, wouldn't take back anything that happened because it taught me so much and it, made me who I am today. And I look back maybe and cringe at some of the things that I did. But at the same time, I was so young. Like I was 22, 23 when all this stuff was happening. And girl, you got to learn some stuff.
You have to. You have to. I have so many cringeworthy moments. I look back, I'm like, oh God, like, was that really something I did? But you
Yeah.
have to. You have to.
And like, I look back at that business and it was like, that was such a pinnacle part of who I am. And I kind of lost that. So I'll kind of get into that a little bit more later, but I lost, like I learned so much about who I was in that business, but I also, because I was doing things that weren't in alignment with myself, I lost myself at the same time. So I look back now and I go, oh, Madison, you could have done so many things differently. But I also go, oh, that was such a beautiful process because you learned so much.
Yeah. Wow. So what are some of like the really good qualities that you find that in that phase of your life that you had to get you where you were that day? Like obviously there was some goodness in there. So what are some qualities or maybe some qualities you're trying to get back that are good? Like strong, positive, or whatever you may. Yeah.
Um, I think I was a total boss babe. Like I look back and I go, Madison, you were a boss babe. Like how did you do that? And my hustle was so on point. Um, like I at the end of the day loved what I was doing and I was just crushing it. And I kind of want to get that vibe back. I look back at her and I'm like, yeah, but in a healthy way because I've talked to you about this before, Carly. I was burnout. I was going so hard, too hard. And now I'm like really working on bringing that like those bits of me back because I shut them out. I shut them out and said, no, that's not you. And you can't have any of that anymore, which is not true because that was such a beautiful part of me, is such a beautiful part of me that I learned from that, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're just trying to figure out your identification, like who you are as self, like who is Madison. And that can be so fluid and different and it changes. And not a lot of people are okay with that kind of change and shift, but you can totally shift and change into a whole other version of yourself. But it doesn't mean you're a different person. It just means things are kind of other parts of you are like bigger and others are smaller. So this boss bitch hustle mentality that you had was just like good, you're really good at it, but it was also informed with probably a toxic environment in a
Mhm.
place that kind of ended up draining you, even though you knew you were good at it and you got where you wanted to go in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
But now you're this version, and there's that part of you that's still there. It just maybe it got minimized because you were so afraid that if you were that girl again, it would come with that environment. But
totally.
you're not in that anymore. You're now in this new fresh space, right?
Exactly. That's dead on, dead on.
Yes, it's so cool to see. It's such a tough thing. So, all right, so let's walk us through. You left. Um, COVID hit. What? Then what?
So COVID hit. I was just like, okay, let's just party. Party. But then what happened is we were all stuck at home, right? And what happens is you're forced to deal with the demons that you're running from. So I had spent so much time just, pushing everything down and spending time with friends and out partying and doing this, doing that, distracting myself from what was really going on. So now I was able to start healing and I started the pinnacle of my spiritual awakening. I started to realize what was really important, and that was me. And I needed to work on myself. Being somebody that has loved personal development so much for the last 5 years, 6 years, I was like, okay, Madison, it's time to time to dig out the toolbox. And I started to realize, like, okay, you have these traumas that you need to heal. And it led me to signing up for a NLP course that has hypnotherapy, EFT tapping, time techniques in it, to learn more about the brain and the subconscious mind. And it started this beautiful journey of me digging deep and being like, who are you? Who are you, Madison?
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
When you like first started NLP, would the old Madison ever do something like that? And when you did it, were you shocked that you like this? Or did you always know you had that big side to you where you wanted to tap into more?
Well, I think I knew coaching would be a great space for me. NLP specifically, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was, but I found this girl. I'm taking the course from Yes Supply, and the girl is Reese, who's created it. And I kept getting these ads, and I was like, okay, watch the ads, watched a few of her free master classes, and then I was like, okay, this girl's speaking to me. And then I started to be like, the universe is giving me these signs, like, and I need to take it. And when I signed up for it, I did not have the money to sign up for this course, let me tell you. I just like pulled it out of my ass because I had been watching these and I kept getting the ads every day. And I was like, okay, I need to do this and I need to do something different for myself because what I'm doing right now is not working. You know,
Yes.
it just wasn't working. And I just jumped on it and I was like, yeah, definitely not something I would have thought I would have done before.
That's so cool.
Because this
What
was
does
so
it stand for?
sorry.
What does it stand for? NLP again? Neuro-linguistic.
Neuro Neuro-linguistic programming.
So cool. I love it. Well, I'm so glad that you actually tried something new. I think a lot of us have different parts of us that some people, let's just say, are a business person and they have no idea they could be like a very talented artist. They have this in them, but they've never given themselves a chance because they put themselves in a box,
Yeah.
right? So did you find that with yourself? You were put in this box that you maybe couldn't be all maybe woo-woo spiritual, because that's a great side to have, I
Yeah.
think.
100%. 100%. And so that opened up this whole new box for me where, I started figuring out like, let me just try whatever I can try. Like I was just turned into like, let me do this yes phase and just say yes to anything. And then I stumbled upon this opportunity to work with some people with mushrooms, where we were helping people heal trauma with magic mushrooms, psilocybin. And that could not have come to me at a better time. Like it ended up not working out, but that's okay because
Yeah.
it was such a beautiful experience. I couldn't necessarily see myself doing that long term, anyways. But I was able to not only heal so many parts of myself because I learned how the tools and I was able to have a beautiful experience on psilocybin and then watch all these other people have beautiful experiences, heal themselves from depression, trauma, all this stuff. And I was just like, what is
Wow.
happening?
What did you learn about yourself? Because obviously you were your first person, you have to do it yourself in order to help others. So what are some things that really came up for you that were not so easy maybe?
Oh my God. It opened up a can of worms for me. I started to realize I had unhealed trauma from childhood. I had daddy issues because my biological dad, I didn't have him growing up. My mom was a single mom. She left the abusive relationship and I just didn't have a daddy. And I didn't know why. And I was like, there was a few times where, he would come to visit me on the weekends or whatever, and then he wouldn't show up. Like I wouldn't see him or hear from him for years, and then he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to get her this weekend." I'd see him for one weekend and it would be like awkward and uncomfortable because I don't know this guy. And then I'd be so excited because I'm like little 5-year-old girl and I have my bag packed the next weekend. He's supposed to come pick me up and I'm waiting on the doorstep and I'm like, "Mom, like, where is he?" And then she's like, "I don't know." And I go back and I'd be like, call him again, call him again. And she's like, "I already called him like 3 times. Do you want to call him?" And I was like, no, no, I don't.
Oh, I can see little Madison just sitting on the corner, like waiting for her dad. That's pretty sad. That's a sad little picture you painted. Oh, baby Madison.
Yeah, so I was just like, and I had this, so during this experience, I realized that that caused a lot of trauma. And in that moment that I just explained to you is the first time I had ego. Ego came out and said, we ain't calling him. Mm-mm. No, we aren't, sister.
Wow.
And there was created a sassy motherfucker.
Yeah. Okay, so from that moment when you realized that these issues were still like in you, like rooted, the trauma held in the body and stuff, because it does that. Comes out when it wants to play. It's like, hey, where has it trickled into your life in your present day?
Yeah. So I realized my last relationship that was very abusive, I allowed myself to be in that relationship and allow those things to happen because I didn't have self-worth. I didn't feel worthy of love. I didn't feel worthy of success. I didn't feel worthy, period.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that I'm still working on to this day. I'm still working, I'm getting a lot better, but I'm still working through some of that stuff. And when I had that realization, it was just like,
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that you did have it. Or else, guess what? Someone who is not aware would find every guy who is unavailable like their father was, in a sense. That's what a lot of us girls do who are very commonly can relate to having daddy issues as well. And then you find your dad in every guy that you're with. And it's very messed up thought, but it's true. Same with the guy and mommy issues. It's the same thing. Is your mom calling you again?
it is always my mom.
All right, pause this. Have a sip of your wine, and I'm having a sip of my coffee. Thanks.
I didn't pause it.
Every time, Madison, we talk, your mom, bless her soul, just wants to chat.
I even went into my settings to turn this off. Turn it off.
All good, all good, all good, all good. What about your mom? Is she like a strong, powerful, independent woman like you are? Or like how was it with her growing up?
My mom.
Mom.
She's amazing. She's so inspiring. That woman, she has broken generational curses in this family.
Wow.
She didn't grow up with a whole lot. She didn't grow up with much at all. It- her story is crazy in its own, but she did everything in her power to raise me the best that she could. She worked, so hard being a single mom. And then I grew up on the island in Nanaimo, and she worked so hard to get us over here to the mainland. And oh my God, she's just so inspiring. She will work so hard, and all she cares about is her family. And I'm just gonna cry. Like, I look up to her so much.
Wow. Well, that's such a good role model to have, considering, some stuff that you've gone through, to be able to have that kind of rock for you, and
Mm,
such a powerhouse single mom and stuff. I think moms are so cool. They're like super women. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know. I put her through hell as a teenager. I was such a
Oh, I bet. I bet. That's
daddy
cool.
issues and all. You know what that causes.
Yeah, right. Did that, and then you take it out on mommy. That's just because she's around, and who else are you gonna take it out on
Yeah.
when you're a teenager with hormones pumping through you, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a cool story, Madison. Thanks for like sharing a little bit deeper about yourself. Um, so after all this stuff happened, let's talk about 2021, these past couple of months for you. Based off of all you've gone through, where are you at right now with yourself? And where do you want to be?
Yes. Okay. So I would say I'm in such a beautiful place right now. Like, I feel like this could be some of the best times in my life. I feel so healthy mentally and physically. Um, but like I am so aware of how my relationships are. Like I'm in such a beautiful, beautiful relationship with my partner. He's so incredible. And I have such amazing women around me. And I am building a business with you and such beautiful other women. And I just feel so in alignment spiritually, mentally, financially, like just going in the way that I want to go. Um, and I'm feeling super adventurous. So I feel like, near the end of 2020 as well, like I went bungee jumping. On New Year's, we went dog sledding and just like feel like just experiencing beautiful things, even though the world is chaotic right now as it is. I am just having such a great time.
Yeah. It's just having fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is a huge thing. Oh my gosh. So I realized that a lot of my life I had been living in the future. So always like, when I hit this promotion, I'm going to do XYZ. When I have this amount of money, I'm going to do XYZ. And just living for the future that may not ever happen. You
Mhm.
know, that yeah, have goals, big goals and all this kinds of stuff. Um but don't hold yourself back in the present moment because you're thinking about the future. So I really have made it my mission this year to live in the present moment and experience everything and be so present now with my friends, with my family, with my loved ones, because you never know what could happen. You never know what tomorrow brings. And I think that's been such a huge lesson for me, and this like just feeling of just peace and
Yeah.
love.
I love it. It's when you're thinking about the future so much, it causes a lot of anxiety, doesn't it? And they say if you think about the past only, that leads to depression. Like if you're stuck in your own head about these things. But the sweet spot is being here now,
Mhm.
right? And being okay, like you said, to have future goals. And it's okay to reflect on the past and be like even grateful or cringing or I learned from that. But to be able to like take a breath literally right now and just to be here right now is just the most important thing I've ever learned as well. And to be playful and to have fun and to stay like but like have vitality and yeah, the playfulness and the funness that I think a lot of people lose the older they get because they're stuck in their heads about the past or the future.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if we're this age now, Madison, and we're understanding this now, imagine where life can take us and where life can take you and your direction that you want to go. I don't doubt that you're going to go everywhere that you want to go in this world and you're going to receive every single thing. Everything. I know you are. In this time, it will be there. It will
Yeah,
be in the palm of your hands. Yes, but you're enjoying the ride, and that's the most important part. It's not the destination, and it's that quote everyone says, right? It's the way to the destination. Because when you get it, then what? You get it, great. Okay, I have it. Yay! Now what? Okay, next goal. Now I'll be happy when I'm there.
yeah.
It doesn't.
It
It
never
doesn't work. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing a bit of you, a little slab of your heart for us to listen to and take a look at. Um, I'm just so thankful for you in my life. And I'm glad that we can have these chats. And I hope that more people who can see this can get to know you a little bit more and just to know, love, and trust you the way that I do. Okay. And let's go get our fucking goals and then enjoy every moment on
Yes,
the way.
thank you
Thank you.
for making me peel back my layers because, as you know, as a lot of people know, I show up, but I have a hard time pouring my heart and soul and really talking deep with people. So
Yeah, but
I
Madison, it
really
makes sense. It makes sense based off of what you just shared. Of you spend a lot of a chunk of your time not being able to open up or be yourself or be authentic, and that doesn't just go away. That is like chips. It has to chip away, and then eventually you'll be able to transform. But that's why I think it's so hard sometimes. But you're doing great. You're doing amazing. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Until
I
next
love you.
time.